Welcome, YouTubers and Rumble. How you doing? Welcome to Mountain High Time. And we're just waiting on the Revolution Radio commercial interlude or whatever it is. The in between the shows, you know, outros, intros, and metrospectuals. Just kidding. Anyway, let me go check on YouTube and see what's going on. Maybe I close that. We don't want to. Oh, we don't care about copyrights. I was kidding. We're not monetized over here on this network. I can find the damn feed. There we go. All right. Let's mute this so we don't get an echo. Yes, give me my channel. There it is. I'm already live. How about them apples? What's up, J-Mac? Sassafras? Those aren't the droids you're looking for. Here, hold on, so I don't miss this. No, still going. All right. Yeah, poof it up before the illiterate, stuttering, mispronunciating news read we call Mountain High Time. No, somebody was complaining on the Mayak show because I was saying etc., etc., etc. I was kind of being sarcastic, but they were very annoyed with my mispronunciation of etc., etc., you know, the Latin. But whatever. I guess they got mad because I said Excedra too many times. Because you know the Excedrin you take for the headaches, etc., etc. Here, let me check on this. Yeah, but they really got mad about the mispronunciation of etc. Etc. I don't know, right? No, they're still freedom slipping it over there. What's up, Magnetic Reversal News? By the way, my destination right after the show at 8 o'clock, we get to see their Revolution Radio show, Cosmic Catastrophe. That's the boom. And obviously, I'm not a scientist over here, and I misstate stuff all the time. Go ahead and feel free to correct me in the comment box. Everybody does. No harm. No skin off my back. In fact, I would rather be right than wrong. So if I messed up, I'll just say, oh, well, I was wrong about that. I was wrong about that. Excuse me. Tourette's. Yeah, there's my intro going. So we'll be live there just 1 second. I would play it on here, but that's like a whole lot of timing I don't want to do. You know what I mean? What's up, Captain Trips? Etc. Etc. Anyway, they were really mad about my speech pattern. It's like when you hear people say ask versus ax. Let me ask you a question. But turns out that's the way they used to say it in Old English. So who's saying it right now, then, different groups of demographics? Just let me ask you a question. All right. And welcome to Revolution.Radio. And you're listening to Mountain High Time. I'm your host, Ransom Godwin. And we're multicasting or live streaming also over on Mountain High Time on YouTube and also Rumble, I think, tonight. Oh, I'm locked out of something. Sweet. There it is. So let's just jump into some cool articles since we're on the radio, man. I got a lot of complaints already on the radio channels about my chaotic media that I play. Oh well, we're doing a live show tonight for all 2 hours. There it is. I guess we could start off here. And I don't think I agree with this paper or article, whatever. No scientific evidence for cognitively advanced behaviors in this Homo naledi. Here, let me see. I'm going to see. Play it out loud for it.
Homo naledi.
Homo naledi. Anyway, it's a hominin that was shoving its, I don't know, is it too much to say loved ones, family members, others of its species in this real elaborate system in a cave? And I guess the argument now is that a cognitive behavior, that indicates the understanding of life and death, you would think. But let's read this paper here. It says a new study casts doubts on the claims that Homo naledi, yeah, we're going to do that, naledi, a small-brained hominid dating back 335 to 241,000 years ago, deliberately buried their dead and produced rock art in Rising Star Cave, South Africa. Recent articles suggest the recent excavations there at Rising Star are not evidence of burial features. They don't think so. Hold on one second. Mute. Sorry. I had a catastrophe. It was bugging me at the door there. It was trying to come in and get in on the broadcast. A new study has cast doubt on claims that the Homo naledi, I don't know why I have a problem with the weird hominin, a small brain hominid dating back, like I said, 335 to 241,000 years ago, deliberately buried their dead and made rock art in this cave. So 3 preprint articles published this year in the eLife suggested that the recent excavations at the Rising Star Cave system provided evidence of at least 3 burial features, 2 in the naledi, chamber, and 3rd on the hill cavity there. The article claimed that the features represented the earliest evidence of deliberate burial by a hominid species, and that the Homo naledi, I had it read it for me. I still can't say it. I watched a whole documentary. Well, it wasn't really a documentary. It's more as a presentation by the scientists in the cave. And one thing I like about this discovery and the people in charge of it is that they're allowing people to see the evidence that they pulled out of the cave in real time. So when they were pulling it out, they were live streaming on various platforms at the time. And it was just really cool. Now, in my opinion, before we get further in this article here, I don't think that the scientist pro or against this idea could actually know what the species was thinking or its motivations. I mean, there's just not enough evidence of any one thing about them, except for some things that you could conclude from our perspective as a human being, the motivations, but that would be a bias. But they found young, old, And when they looked at the bones, they didn't have evidence of animal attacks or, things like that. So they probably died of natural causes. Now, one could say maybe they were shoving them in there because they were sick or something, but that doesn't seem to be the case either, because they would have got sick too, right? But they would go in this cave, and it's elaborate. It goes up, and then it goes down, and it goes, squiggles around. So you have to do some real maneuvering. And when the scientists go in there, of course, humans are bigger, but they got their lights and all this stuff, and they're going down in the cave, or, area. And there's just bones everywhere of a bunch of different ages of this hominid creature. Now, we say small brained, and I joke because it's like you trying to know the motivation behind the dog doing something weird out in the woods, like, well, we found these bones, and that means we know that they were probably doing this or that. But that's not true. We really have no idea. However, it is pretty bizarre because they have an accumulation of the bodies in there. Like I said, several generations. So more than just one or two hominids or animals or people, however you look at it, were putting the dead bodies in there and going through this little maze, making a big effort to hide these bodies in there. Now, to me, that does suggest some kind of idea of an afterlife attached to the bodies somehow. And this is just my opinion, because they were probably hiding it from other animals or even other hominids, and hiding the bodies. Or maybe it was just like a cat does its poop and just was burying the evidence of their presence. Who knows? I mean, like, how could you know? Anyway, let's get back into this. Anyway, it says it was also claimed that the hill feature contained a stone tool in close proximity to a hominin hand. Like I said, did it fall there? Was it really a tool? I don't know. However, a group of experts with specializations in biological anthropology, archaeology, and geochronology, and rock art have now called for a deeper dig into the science behind the findings in the first peer-reviewed critique published with the Journal of Human Evolution. Well, this echo's got me. Maybe I should take off my headphones, man. There it is. Professor Michael Petragilia from the Griffin University Australian Research Centre for Human Evolution, and Professor Andy Harris from the La Trobe University. Boy, these names on here. Maritinian Torres from the National Research Center on Human Evolution. I got to get my PBS voice out for these. In Spain, and Diego Argarte. Side note, and I know this has nothing to do with this, but a few decades ago, a woman from the Midwest, this pretty white woman, looked white, moved to New Mexico and was a TV personality. And when she got here, her name was like something Garrett, right? But over the years, somehow her name became Garate. I don't know why that is. That was just a side note. Has nothing to do with anything. But anyway, Diego Garate, or Garrett, from the University of Cantabria in Spain, co-authored the peer-reviewed article. The research team concluded that the evidence presented so far was not compelling enough to support the deliberate burial of a dead Homo naledi, nor that they made the purported engravings. We really need substantial additional documentation and scientific analysis before we can rule out that natural agents and post-depositational processes were responsible for the accumulation of body parts, and to prove the intentional excavation and filling of pits by Homo naledi Professor Martinion Torres said. Moreover, Professor Petraglia added, unfortunately, there is a distinct possibility that the so-called stone artifact next to the hominid hand is a geofact and not a product of stone tool flaking by Homo naledi. I don't, God, they should, name stuff better for me so I can read it better and say it better. It's the LSD, man. It damaged my brain. And ever since then, things are all scrambled. Back to the article. Professor Harry said there is no evidence that Homo naledi. I'm just going to call him Nell. All right? Just for the rest of this, we're just going to call it Nell. Homo Nell lit fires in the cave. Purported burying locations could just be from manganese straining and charcoal within the cave remains and dated charcoal from the natural fires. It's not uncommon in caves. Detailed analysis are also needed to demonstrate that the so-called engravings are indeed human-made marks. Well, yeah. So is it an animal or a man? I don't know. Wow. As marks like these can be produced as a product of natural weathering or animal claws. I don't know, man. It just seems really bizarre that whether you're considering this hominid a animal or more on the human side of things, that it purposely went out of its way to do the really complicated task of putting these animals in there. Now, this paper's or articles arguing that maybe that didn't happen. Maybe for some reason a group of them accumulated in there from some other means, and that they didn't really have fire and they didn't really make stone tools. However, I don't know. It's pretty convincing when you watch the evidence, but it could be just of a bunch of excited people with only like less than 1% of the information needed to make an opinion about it. Got excited and made some opinions, which I think is for the most part the entire field of make believe of knowing what other species thought about, or the whole idea that we would have the same perspective, say, of a Neanderthal. Now, given if they're human, like we're human, which we're saying they are, and they're just another species of human that went down a different line, a different tree, then, we could say that we could empathize with that creature, but it would be a different species. I mean, like, is the dog and the wolf really talking to each other? I don't know. And you're allowed to notice in nature when a family of animals has different species that are very similar, like cats. You could say, hey, that's a tiger, that's a species. And then there's lions. But yes, they can mate, but they're technically different species. And yes, they can make offspring that are viable, but they are different species. But are they a different species in that sense? Because you can't really talk about humans in that way. So that's why they have a problem in talking about what human beings actually are, because we're Heinz 57 mutt of different species of humans. And this one's talking about, if that's true, then we should be able to talk about, if you're talking about Neanderthal and Europeans or whatever, you're allowed to say that the DNA from different species may influence the behavior of our current, hybrid species. And you're allowed to say that. But if, you get too far into the subject, then you get some weird woke Marxist stuff that will stop you dead in your tracks from, further investigating the truth behind DNA and where man came from, how we were created, and what we are today, which is a admixture hybrid species of, I'm going to say, probably 5 to 7 different human species, but we really only are familiar with the ones we talk about. And in this article from CNN, it says, early risers may have inherited our genetic variants from Neanderthals that increase their odds of being morning rather than evening people. Ooh, something so basic. I wonder how they know that. New research has found, because, you could sit there and think about the idea of, why did man start making tools? Did he sit there and think, you know what, I need something to poke a hole in that big animal over there. And then he was like, wow, oh, this is sharp, but it doesn't penetrate. Or was it a process of elimination? Or did one day like a rock fall off the side of a cliff, bust in front of a human, and when they walked over there was a pile of sharp rock made out of some kind of chert or, um, obsidian or something like that, some kind of glass. And they were like, wow, hey, what if we did that on purpose? I mean, we don't know how behavior started or came about. I mean, we have no idea. Were they thought up? Were they coincidental? Did we start cooking our meat because, we had fire? Or did we start cooking our meat because, we went out into a field after a lightning strike and found a dead deer and it smelled delicious? And then we were like, wow, why does that taste better on this side than the other? Oh, it was laying in this white stuff. It's some salt. I mean, like, we don't know any of that. We have no clue. But they like to say things like they really know. But anyway, let's read this mainstream article here about who you are and why it matters. While the human body clock is a complex trait shaped by social and cultural norms, as well as genetics, Neanderthals, who evolved at high latitudes in Europe and Asia for hundreds of thousands of years, may have been better adapted to seasonal variations in daylight compared with early Homo sapiens, which is weird. Who are we talking about, early Homo sapiens? Are we talking about the species of Cro-Magnon that they said was no different than Europeans of today? Or is this like an already mixed version of the species? They don't really say that. They just say modern humans and Homo sapiens. Oh, okay. Well, let's convolute it a little bit so we don't know what we're talking about. But anyway, let's get back to this. With early Homo sapiens or modern humans. According to a study published Thursday in the Journal of Genome Biology and Evolution, early modern humans evolved latitudes closer to the equator in Africa, where there's less variation in daylight hours. It's possible the adaptation to the changes in the amount of daylight was passed on to early Homo sapiens as they moved north out of Africa, which is still a theory, by the way, but they say it is fact, and encountered and interbred with Neanderthals, which is weird because everybody outside of sub-Saharan Africa carries Neanderthal, Denisovan, and other archaic human DNA. However, in sub-Saharan Africa, they do not. They did not mix with these other species at all. They mixed with something that scientists call a ghost species that they think happened about 50 to 47,000 years ago or something like that. I've read the article before. So that would have been a recent, breeding event in the line of supposed Homo sapiens, which means that it's more likely that Cro-Magnon man went into Africa and mixed with the hominins there, just like they did in Europe and Asia, because that's what it seems like actually happened, which would make sense why people in Africa don't carry less than 1% Neanderthal DNA. At higher latitudes, it is beneficial to have a body clock, evidently, that is better able to anticipate the change to match the changing seasonal light levels. Having a faster running clock facilitates this ability, and it makes individuals more likely to rise early. So if you're an early bird, it might be because you've inherited genes from the Neanderthal species. According to these guys here, that some simple behavior. Maybe it's just like something else. I mean, it might not be genetic at all, or it's both. It could be both. You could have a gene that, makes you predisposed to certain activities, but then on the other hand, say you like, watching YouTube late at night, you're going to stay up late at night. That has nothing to do with, the outside clock there. So that'd be artificial. But something similar could be happening in the past. What if you, were on the hunt for something that lived at nighttime, or maybe you had to move from other humans at nighttime? It doesn't really make sense that, there's a certain, species that made you either like night or not like. But, in the animal kingdom, it kind of is that way. There's some animals that do it, the dusk and the dawn portion of the night. There's some that do it in the really, really late, dark night. And then there's animals that only come out in the daytime. So I don't see why different humans from different places wouldn't be doing the same thing, and some of them doing that exact thing right next to each other, being the same species. So that being said, they're saying that, we know from other species that live across broad ranges of latitude that their circadian clocks often adapt to the differences in light and dark cycles, he added via email. Analyzing ancient DNA, researchers involved in the study analyzed DNA from the standard human genome, its Neanderthal counterpart, and that of Denisovan, another archaic human closely related to Neanderthals. By comparing the genes that influence circadian rhythms in archaic and modern DNA, they identified multiple differences in how the circadian genes link to the body clock function. To understand whether any humans alive today still have these Neanderthal genetic variants and how they function, the researchers looked at UK Biobank, a medical database that has genetic and other health information for hundreds of thousands of people, which is scary in itself. However, another side note here, if you like this radio that you're listening to that supports freedom of speech and open topics and different things, think about donating to Revolution.Radio. It is a listener-supported radio station. So they have a Patreon, I believe, there at the top of the page, or at least a link that will help you donate, a one-time donation if you'd like to do that. That gives us, that's a kind of place that gives people platforms, versus like YouTube and others that ban, censor, and try to steer, information in a certain direction. If you'd like to help this channel, just click that link that's in the description box at the top there. And thank you very much in ahead of time. Anyway, this UK bank, and what my point with that also being is I was going to try to save some money so I could do like I forget which genetic firm does it. I think it's 123andMe or it might be the other one, but some of them actually do genetic testing for archaic DNA. So you could get your DNA. Now, I guess you can argue the accuracy of some of this stuff, but some of it's undeniable science. So it would be cool to look at to see, but I'm pretty sure that the government has my DNA already, so I'm not worried about any conspiracy theories in that direction. But it would be cool to see how much archaic DNA I have, just to trip out on that. I mean, think about it. We are a hybrid species of different species, and if they actually started testing for these, we could count the number and really get a good idea of where the modern species came from, because we're an admixture species of all of these different species. And who knows what traumatic event in the past, what kind of, catastrophe or, things like that happened on the earth that allowed, just a few people to move on to admixture with the next group they found, creating the species we are today. And where does that go now? I mean, these are questions that a lot of people ask, but they use them and twist them for these fake agendas that they come up with today in social engineering. But anyway, back to the point. I was going to do one of those genetic tests just to see, how much archaic DNA do I have? And then, this spreads to a whole nother topic here. How much of your behavior comes from the percentage of species you are in which mix? And does it matter? And are we allowed to talk about that like we do with other forms of animals, if that makes sense? Anyway, scientists have been studying the genetic differences between archaic and modern humans since 2010, when the Neanderthal genome was sequenced for the first time. The same year, genetic sequencing of ancient DNA from fossils also revealed the Denisovan, because the cave, evidently, that they found these bones in, there was this hermit that lived there named Dennis, and he hung out and kicked it in that cave. A modern day cave dweller. How ironic that in there was the secret to other cave dweller humans of the past. Very trippy. You know, a lot of people talk about going back in time. I would love to go back in time and check out all the different types of humans that once lived on the earth. You know, like what trippy things were they doing or thinking about? Unfortunately, they're gone, but they're not forgotten because they live on today in our admixture. Ooh, that's some spicy stuff there. Anyway, let's move on to some other topics. Whether or not you're... See, this dude looks like... I've met him before on several continents. I've seen a dude that looked like this in England. I've seen a dude that looked like this in Mexico. I've seen a dude that looked like this at my family reunion. There was a dude that looked like that at Walmart earlier this week. But for real, I mean, I know you guys on the radio can't see it, but I'm showing a picture of a supposed, iteration of what they think a Neanderthal looked like, which is just looks like some human dude. So it's only trippy when you look at their skulls compared to Cro-Magnon that you see the differences. So I thought this was a really cool article. People, not the climate, found to have caused the decline of giant mammals. Well, maybe that's the same for the other forms of man. Who knows? Let's dive into this article. And I'll dive into this mocha right here. Get rid of that cotton mouth on Mountain High Time. All right. People, not the climate, found to have caused the decline of the giant mammals. For years, scientists have debated whether humans or climate have caused the population of large mammals to decline dramatically over the past several thousand years. A new study from Aarhus University confirms that the climate cannot be the explanation. About 100,000 years ago, the first modern humans supposedly... See, it's in every article. They don't know this. They don't know when which group of human moved where, but they always put a time frame where all humans came out of Africa when they don't know that at all. It's like saying all the apes were in Africa. Oops, we found a fossil of one in Europe. Oops, there's some over in Asia. So it seems like there was multiple places that man was evolving, if you want to use that word. And then they met each other. And here we are. Anyway, let's go with their story here. His story. The history of my people. Of all of us. Anyway, about 100,000 years ago, the first modern humans migrated, supposedly, out of Africa in large numbers. They were eminent at adapting to new habitats, and they settled in virtually every kind of landscape, from desert to jungles to the icy taiga in the far north, like the tundras, I'm guessing. I don't know that word. Anyway, part of the success was humans' ability to hunt large animals with clever hunting techniques and specially built weapons. They perfected the art of killing even the most dangerous mammals, but unfortunately, the great success of our ancestors came at an expense of other large mammals. Allegedly. Again, because we don't know that, do we? Because I'm thinking whatever happened at the end of the Hunger Dryas wiped out whatever was left, and it wasn't man that did it. And we didn't melt the ice caps with global warming and, cow farts. I mean, imagine the farts going on 50,000 years ago here. I mean, really, imagine it. By studying the DNA of 139 living species of large mammals, scientists have been able to show that the abundance of almost every species fell dramatically about 50,000 years ago. Ooh, that's weird. That's the same time these other humans were dying off, evidently. 50,000 years ago. That's the time range of supposedly the breeding events, even though now we've seen more evidence that shows that humans and Neanderthal were mixing way back, more like 200, 300,000 years ago, on multiple occasions, which might be true for the other species as well, having several over the years rendezvous and exchange of genetic information and liquids and fluids, if you know what I mean. This is according to Jen Christian Swevening. I don't know how to say that. Swevening. Swevening? I don't know. Got me on that one. A professor head. She's a head. At the Danish National Research Foundation Center for Ecological Dynamics in the novel biosphere Econovo. What a name. Well, all right. We've studied the evolution of large mammalian species populations over the past 750,000 years. For the first 700,000 years, the populations were fairly stable, but 50,000 years ago, the curve broke. Boom. Just like that. It broke. But that was actually my coffee that broke. There we go. Anyway, their populations fell dramatically and never recovered, he says, and continues. For the past 800,000 years, the globe was fluctuated between ice ages. You hear that? Ice ages. And interglacial periods about every 100,000 years. If the climate was the cause, we should see greater fluctuation when the climate changed prior to 50,000 years ago. But we don't. Humans are, therefore, the most likely explanation. What? Is it, though? For decades, scientists have debated what is behind the extinction or rapid decline of large mammals over the past 50,000 years. On one side, the scientists who believe that the rapid and severe fluctuations in the climate are main explanation that the climate did it. For example, they believe that the woolly mammoth went extinct because the cold mammoth steppe largely disappeared. Shoo! Damn, I thought that was man's fault. I thought it was because we were driving our SUVs around and, towing trailers with cows that kept farting. And by the way, I forgot where it's at. I brought it up the other night on MyAg, an article out. Finally, they've come out and said, you know what? You got to stop breathing because, humans produce a lot of CO2 and therefore you should just go die. All right, hold on one second. I have to push two cough buttons because, some of this sticky icky. Anyway, who killed the large mammals for decades? They debated whether this was, climate or humans. For example, they believe, like I said before, the woolly mammoth went extinct because the steppes disappeared. On the opposite side of the group, who believe that the prevalence of modern humans, Homo sapiens, or Cro-Magnon, I don't know. Where does Cro-Magnon fit in here? Anyway, is the explanation. They believe that our ancestors hunted the animals to such an extent that they either became completely extinct or were severely decimated. Maybe it's all of the above. Maybe they don't have to argue. Maybe severe catastrophes caused humans to overhunt an already dwindling population of bigger animals. Or maybe the sun did it, and these little cycles are what happens, and we're not looking at it in the future long enough to see the speciation that usually follows large die-offs to happen, because we don't live long enough to see that, and no one's talking about that. What happens next if we live in a great die-off? Wouldn't there be like, thousands of years of speciation into a new planet of different ecological animals? So far, some of the most important evidence in the debate has been found in fossils. Yet again, from the past 50,000 years, they show that the strong selective extinction of large animals in time and space roughly matches the spread of modern humans around the globe. Therefore, the extinction of animals can hardly be linked to climate. Nevertheless, the debate continues. It could have been both. I mean, if humans were doing bad, they would have obviously hunted down the little critters and the big critters and ate them. Because I like bacon, and bacon's good for you. And don't ever forget it. No, I'm just joking. I actually don't eat swine anymore, even though it smells good, and I have nothing against it in theory. It's just, these biotech firms. Need I say more? I don't. Mysterious fast radio bursts in space keep getting stranger. Wow. Fast radio bursts are bright millisecond-long flashes of radio waves in space are one of the most enduring mysteries of the cosmos, and they just became a little stranger. The first fast radio burst, or FRB, was discovered in 2007, and since then, hundreds of these quick, intense events have been detected coming from the distant points across the universe. In a thousandth of a second, the burst can generate as much energy as the sun creates in 1 year or more, according to previous research. But astronomers don't understand what causes them. Now, scientists have noticed never before seen quirky patterns in a new spotted repeating fast radio burst called FRB 202209112A. A study published Wednesday in the monthly notices of the Royal Astronomical Society details the discovery, which provides valuable clues to researchers aiming to identify the phenomenon's source while introducing new enigmas to unravel for everyone. It's aliens. I'm just kidding. I don't know. It's funny to me that, they know that suns all across the universe put these things off periodically, and different size suns, all these things, but is it aliens? That's what we all want to know. But until it comes into a pattern, which you would think aliens would have figured out light transmission and would have messaged the universe where we could see it by now. So there's always that scary thought, right? Are we the first of many? Are we the first and only conscious, sentient being in the universe? Are we the last? What if we're the last? How scary is that? It's like, is it more scary to think we're alone in the universe, or that, we're just one in an infinite number of creatures crawling around on planets, scratching their butts, wondering, who am I? Why am I here? And why do those people keep doing those weird things? I don't know. So which is it, though? Are we like right in the middle? Or do our kind of sentient species go dead or dormant so fast that it doesn't really compare with the timeline of how often they infinitely pop up in the cosmos. So, like, they could be popping up infinitely, but because we live such a short time, none of them ever communicate with each other. So, that's why we're hoping to find some ancient aliens, right? That's why everybody's so hardcore about ancient aliens. Maybe they came and they left a message, but I don't think so. And if they did, it wasn't a message for us. This is a sad article. Top soccer player collapses on the field after suffering cardiac arrest. Poor guy. His poor heart. We won't talk about that because you can't. You're not allowed. And I'm unwrapping a special gift. Sweet. House passes defense policy bill, a rebuke of GOP's far-right fringe. Or is it? Sounds like they're just giving their self more power, like they always do. Either side of the aisle. It's a two birds of the government poop bird. I'm going to say it that way. I have a meme that says that. Vote for your side. Left, right. Which one will you vote for? It's the two sides of the government poop bird. Dropping poop bombs on you today. Anyway, the House, in a decisive vote Thursday, passed the annual defense authorization bill, delivering a bipartisan rebuke to most conservative members who sought to influence the legislation with a wish list of provisions targeting Pentagon policies. Now, they say those policies include abortion, diversity, LGBTQ plus 1520 rights. I don't get that, so maybe I'm dumb, but don't we have a constitution that we don't listen to? Somewhere in that thing, that Constitution, the Bill of Rights, said something about all men were created equal. That means everybody gets the same rights. Nobody gets special rights. Nobody gets extra rights. We don't have need for that because everybody, and of course, when they said all men, they weren't dumb people. These were writers, inventors, revolutionaries of the time. They didn't accidentally write down, well, let's see. You sure you don't want just all white men to be equal? No. That's not what they wrote. They wrote all men. All. And we all know men means human. Human. So the men and the women. They knew these topics would come up, so they put it in there and gave everybody the same rights. So we wouldn't be having people tripping, thinking that they don't have the same rights. Obviously. So they had problems of their time, but they kind of tried to tackle it with the Bill of Rights because they knew it would spark these legal discussions about realities of their time. But for some reason, we're doing it backwards now. So inside this bill, basically, people were trying to block spending for going to war everywhere, which, the GOP's alleged far right and the far lefties, they all want to go to war. So there's no difference on that front. Everybody, we got to stop Putin. We got to bomb these guys. We got to bomb those guys. I mean, if we didn't bomb people, what the hell would we do with the country? I mean, with just a bunch of free people having time to, live out their lives, allegedly, with those constitutional rights in the richest country in all of history with the most opportunity. But yet, we're bad. We're bad. And because we're bad, we're going to spend all our money in blowing people up in wars that have nothing to do with us as an average American citizen. They want to tell you it does, but does it? Are they invading us? That's not the people I see coming by the millions over the border. It's not Russians. It's sure not Russians. I don't know. It's just so funny. Let's vote for war. Now, I know you guys can't see this on the radio, but this was a wicked video. So you go to RT and watch it, and I'll just read the headline. I can't even play it on YouTube because they would totally strike that down. Graphic video: Ukrainian deputy detonates 3 grenades during a council meeting. Oh my God, it's crazy. And he does. He just walks in there. He lets everybody talk. And then he's like, hey, look what I got. Here's the Easter egg for you, and an Easter egg for you, and an Easter egg for you. And then boom, 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 boom. It is nuts. At least 24 people have been injured in a series of blasts during a session of a council in western Ukraine. Officials have said, adding that the suspected perpetrator was a local deputy who brought grenades to the meeting, and he's one of Zelensky's guys. Oh my God! What if they did politics like that over here? And whoa! Instead, they say a bunch of old people with matching hats and phones tried to throw a revolution. Silly. You are the carbon they want to reduce. UK scientists say human breath, bad for the environment, contributes to global warming. You might want to get a jacket. You might actually, in my opinion, I'm going to call this now for your great-grandchildren. You should just stockpile jackets. Jackets for decades to come, for the next couple generations, because I'm pretty sure we're at the end of the interglacial. So, who knows? Next 80,000 years, we'll be getting cold. You might want to save jackets. I ain't worried about no global warming. And they did eventually find a way to say, hey, we're going to tax you for breathing. We're going to tax you for water, breathing, living, multiplying. So, no one's free. Nobody gets out alive. We're all gonna die down here. Anyway, let's move on to this. This is one of those forbidden archaeology things, or at least allegedly for a long time. But according to this article, this mystery of the modern London hammer, which was a supposed hammer that was encased in 400 million year old rock, turns out it was probably a hoax. They wiggled it in place when someone found a matching little hole, and they wiggled in a modern hammer into it, like a homemade hammer, so I can get to it. But because they put that into a rock from back then, a lot of people believe this because they just said, it's a 1,000,000-year-old hammer. Who built it? It must have been the Slee Stacks. Beware of them. They're out there. They're looking for you, if you know what I mean. But I always thought that was probably a hoax, but wouldn't it be cool if we did find an artifact from millions and millions of years ago? And what if it was a human artifact? What then, scientist people? I don't know. Would it be? So last night, we watched, I already forgot the name. It's one of these Obama movies, funded movies. And it was the one David Dubine talked about on Mayak the other night, if you heard that. But in the movie, it's just another example of Hollywood deciding that they will give the people the most extravagant, exaggerated examples of racism and, vulgar language and messed up slurs, and they'll put it in a movie where they're trying to say that everyone else is like that. However, where's the example in American culture of all of this happening? Well, I don't know. Have you ever watched a Quentin Tarantino movie? Seems like he can, get away with a white guy making a movie where they squeeze the N-word in, hire black people to say it, hire white people to say it, and then try to insinuate everyone's racist, when really the only examples of extreme and exaggerated racism that anyone knows of came out of TV and movies produced by Hollywood leftists. They're the ones that are weird, racist, crazy, and come up with these ideas. This is what's in their head. And when we get back, we'll talk about some of these new movies. Now, this movie last night was kind of trippy. It seemed like some unknown something happened to the world, and all the electronics were dead. The governments were done. It was the end of things, or something happened, and nobody knows what's going on. And they boil it down to white people are racist. I poop you not. So that was their big reveal at the end, except for the little girl. She got to go watch a Friends movie and was happy because she's, that's the only thing important is Hollywood, even after the end of things. It was just bizarre. But this is another movie. This is a movie that's like a racist Harry Potter movie. The Magical Negroes trailer calls white people the most dangerous animals on the planet. Are we? Are we? What if you're just part white? Are you only part dangerous? Are you only dangerous if you're certain shades of white? Do they mean Caucasian people or just people that happen to be the color of paper or something? Is there a chart, like a Nazi pie chart that they're using? But anyway, it's anti-whiteism, and it's the new culture of Hollywood leftists. The real racist. And we'll get back into that in just a minute, because I think we're coming up to the break time here. Let's change my headset. Whoa. There we are. And we'll talk about this stuff when we get back and see what, I watch all these movies. I think they're funny. They're hilarious. But it's just so funny because I can watch any movie now and tell you what they're about to show. I'll tell you, they have to put this. There's a whole formula. It's like the old books. If they wrote about a gun, it's going to come up in the book later. Well, movies are like that. It's cliche, but they keep doing it. It's always the same format in every single movie. And I don't understand why people don't see the Hollywood script of scripts. It's a step-by-step process to make you feel for imaginary people, imaginary characters in imagination land. That's not real. It's not the real people out there. It's not you. But they do manage to scientifically steal all of your endorphins, emotions, and time if, you watch it. But it's weird when you're aware of it, that it's more comical and you get a different thing out of it. It's pretty bizarre. So this movie that we're going to talk about is called The American Society of Magical Negroes, which sounds cool to me. Is that like a... it's like a Harry Potter movie, but I don't know why they would say that white folks were the most dangerous animal on the planet. You would think they would be saying that's human beings, because if the out of Africa theory is correct, it is Africans that moved out and conquered the planet and killed off all the other humans. Oh, no. But that's false. Anyway, we're going to go on break here on Mountain High Time.
Today, the demand for gold continues to flourish globally. History proves that fiat paper money is designed to go to zero through inflation, whereas gold has intrinsic value in which it maintains forever. Paper money is a debt instrument. Gold is an asset of wealth in its own right. It does not depend upon any governments, corporations, or individuals' promise to repay ITM Trading has spent the last 27 plus years developing a team of expert researchers and analysts to make this possible. Simply put, we build strategies which are historically proven to protect your wealth and assets through any economic downturn or currency collapse. Schedule your free gold and silver strategy call 866-834-1422. That's 866-834-1422, or go to learn.itmtrading.com/MIAC and keep watching Mountain High Time and Mini Ice Age Conversations if you know what's good for you.
Imagine, if you will, a glimpse into the possible outcome of a million mistakes. What you are about to watch is a nightmare. It is not meant to be prophetic. It need not happen. It's the fervent and urgent prayer of all men of goodwill that it never shall happen. But in this place, in this moment, it does happen. In the midst of it comes unexpectedly over the phone the announcement of the President of the United States, the warning from the very top declaring a state of emergency of suspected enemy missiles approaching. It's anyone's guess where they might land. What city will be obliterated? How many could be lost? And last but not least, will it be me? Will it be my family, friends, my square inch on the map? Minutes go by and nothing. Right as you exhale a breath of relief, an instant wave of horror treks down your spine and a sinking feeling in the pits of your stomach. Just then the power goes out. The only light you see is the glow of your phone. Shining in your face, the icons of terror. Low battery, and even more frightening, the symbol for connection to information and loved ones gone. You try the landline in your office, desperate to contact family. Nothing at all, just a bone-chilling empty silence. Panic-stricken, you blindly forage for your car keys. Success. Something in this nightmare of a day has gone right. Now it's a desperate mad dash for your car. Your mind now in a near intellectual paralysis. Logic a struggle as you cope with a Gatling gun barrage of horrific ideas of what your family might be going through in this very moment. Miraculously, your car starts and you begin your seemingly apocalyptic drive to locate your kin. As you pass the first stop sign, the sight of civic decay is already bearing its nasty head as you speed past fights in the streets, looting, and a complete halt of any semblance of an evolved civilization. To your right, a large fire. As angry, fear-filled citizens with their arms full of grocery items run from what used to be your local food market ran by a mom and pop's couple now collapses into a bonfire of dreams. Because of the commotion, your attention span has been stolen. Now before your automobile is a violent crowd. They have now surrounded your car, banging on the metal, bashing at the glass, screaming incoherently. What just a second ago was the road to salvation, now a deadly trap of circumstance and fear blocking your escape. This can't be happening, repeatedly echoing in your head as you start to mumble the phrase in a shrieking, inaudible, childlike tone to yourself. The trepidation now filling your lungs like a poison fog, suffocating and smothering in its certainty. Just then, as your heart and soul seem to be having synergistic perturbations, an alarm blares, overwhelming your senses. Immediately you recall the warning of missiles. You close your eyes and expect the end. But the alarm morphs into a sweet, familiar beckoning of your alarm clock. You open your eyes and switch off the welcoming timepiece. A warm filling of relief as you realize your family is safe in their beds, and no pending doom is written in the stars today. For a split second, you ponder the poor people of your vision, and it reinforces your confidence that you have already prepared for the any scenario. You have peace of mind your children will eat and thrive, because you invested in their future to give some stability if any break in the normality of life happens. You invested in heaven's harvest. The you in this story was a fictional you. But do you get the feeling something unthinkable is going to happen soon? I sure do. The problem is we probably won't see it coming. One morning you'll wake up and the world will be a much different place. Don't panic, prepare. Smart folks are investing in emergency food now. A wise man once said, "It's better to have it and not need it than need it and not have it." Heaven's Harvest is the nation's leader in emergency food storage. It's the only investment you get 100% of your money for, even better than gold. Survival experts recommend the 3-month emergency food kit. Go to heavensharvest.com, use the code ADAPT at checkout and save a mind-blowing 15%.
Sweet. Welcome back to Revolution.Radio. Radio. This is Mountain High Time. I'm your host, Ransom Godwin. And thanks for joining us on Rumble and YouTube. And no, we're not. That wasn't a racist break. Let's talk about this racist story here. I guess racism is cool if you're a lefty in Hollywood. You get to do it. And then you get to, what do they call that? Projection, when they put it on you, but it ain't you, it's them, obviously. Anyway, here, let's look at this thingamajig again. Let's see here. Boy, that commercial was all messed up. It was like running crazy. Let's see what's going on in the chat. These aren't the droids you're looking for. Is in there talking about something about this or that. Yep, 13%, 75% true. But there's a lot of these, topics where they only put out mistruth on both sides of the argument. And we're going to get to that in a minute. But anyway, let's talk about this movie. It says that white people are the most dangerous animal on the planet. Well, what does that mean? Does that mean we need to hunt them? And I say we because, I'm part white. I'm guilty. Does that make me evil? I don't think so. A trailer for the new Hollywood comedy. Well, it's just funny to make white people those dangerous animals. What's so funny is you got this, and at the same time, I don't know if you saw the video of, it's like a video making fun of white people, I think. And it's a bunch of black guys and black women acting like white people on a hiking trail. And they're being very polite and going, hi, oh, you're going to love it. First time out, doing all that stuff. And ironically, I don't know what were they making fun of, saying white people were too polite? I'm not sure what was funny about it. But it was funny because people on trails are like that, of all different colors, though. But the video was just weird. So you got one saying white people are so too nice, too friendly. Isn't it annoying? Because they're actually like a bear in the woods, right? They're the most dangerous animal on the planet. Beware if you're out in the woods and you spot a pale man. Oh, speaking of pale white men, the Hunter Biden reportedly plans to get out of America if Trump is elected in 2024. Oh, well, see ya if that's what happens. I don't care. Why do these people threaten stuff like this? Like do we care? Who cares? Move. You'll get away with smoking crack rock. Getting away with smoking crack rock and, all them underage hookers. Don't feed the white people in the woods. They'll just come back if it's delicious. They're going to come back and they're going to buy more. Anyway, see ya, Hunter. Happy hunting. They all do that. All these celebrities, they're like, hey, we're going to leave if the guy we don't want of the poop bird doesn't win. We're going to leave the country. No one's ever left. People only come. And there's a reason for that. I'm not supposed to say it, but it rhymes with it is the whole thing. It holds true that certain places just don't experience the same quality of life. And they don't like that. So they're going to turn this place into it's a whole thing. It's an it hole thing. It hole. It's a hole. It's where I smoke my crack. No. Hunter Biden reportedly plans to flee America if Trump elected in 2024. He's going to take his Hunter Biden crack pipe signed by the president and his illegal firearms and his underage hookers, and he's gonna go. And, they're still trying to push that the Russians are behind Hunter Biden committing crimes just to embarrass Biden. West secretly urging Russia-Ukraine talks by Lavrov. However you say that guy's name. Anyway, they need to have some peace talks, but I don't think they, really will. Maybe they should bring Hunter and the best crack available in America. And just let's stop hiding it. Let's stop doing the scandals. Just send the guy that knows where to get the best crack, and we send him over there to smoke with the best crackhead over in Russia, and they'll make peace, and we'll have an international, crack ring going on, just like the fentanyl ring from China, but we'll make money. You think? And it'll even hook up South America. We can give everybody 1%. Bring crack back. Make crack great again. We could sell crack to the people on fentanyl, and then we could drop them off in Canada where they can ask the government to kill them because they're crackheads. Oh, is that too much of a reality in our lifetime? All of those things are real. You could do all of that. It's crazy. Woman kills boy, 14, who tried to burglarize her Fort Worth house. Police say. Let's see here. I don't know why people don't get that. Well, there was a Second Amendment for a reason. Not only for a tyrannical government, but so you could live. So you could protect yourself, your family, your property. People don't get that. They're mad at you because you didn't want to die. It's damn, don't be racist. Just let me rob you. Boom. It's messed up. It is messed up that a 14-year-old thought it was okay to enter another person's home because that 14-year-old's parents evidently did not teach their child about the Second Amendment and how it's wrong to home invade someone's home. I mean, isn't that the truth? No matter what's going on here, is it the homeowner's fault for not wanting to die in their house because they don't know who's burglarizing their home? Yeah, what parents would do that? Maybe it is a case of what parents at all? Who knows? Fort Worth, Texas. A teenage boy was shot and killed at a Fort Worth apartment complex. They say the 8th grader attempted to burglarize a woman's home, and that woman shot him dead. Fort Worth police say the woman who shot and killed the teenager on Thursday is cooperating with the investigation. They're probably going to charge her for a crime. That's how things been going lately. Where municipalities, states, the government wants to prosecute you for being wronged. And that's going on from a federal level to a local level. While talking with the woman, police say they learned that she previously called break-in or attempted break-ins before the shooting. Right now, no arrests have been made. Fort Worth police say a 14-year-old boy was fatally shot outside the apartment near I-20 and McCart Avenue just before 3 a.m. Evidently, he had been trying to burglarize stuff already. Don't do that. Your parents should have told you stealing's wrong. Going in people's houses can get you killed because it's wrong. And, duh. But I feel the same way kind of about, what are we doing overseas, invading other places and kind of getting up in their house? Do they have a right to shoot back? Do nations have the Second Amendment? And just like the Second Amendment, is it okay to chase down the people that attacked you and then kill them later when they're defenseless? Is that murder? It might be, but the government does it. So why is it wrong for the citizen to, like chase a burglar out of their house and shoot him? I don't know. The government does exactly that. Other countries do exactly that. So why is it wrong when a homeowner does it? Well, because it's murder. You don't need to chase them. You can stay in your house. And if they come back, then you kill them dead at the border of your house. If you know what I'm saying. If they're attacking you, you shoot them. London, AP. A U.S. warship shot down 14 suspected attack drones over the Red Sea on Saturday. A Royal Navy destroyer downed another drone that was targeting commercial ships. The British and American militaries said Houthi rebels in Yemen have launched a series of attacks on vessels in the Red Sea, one of the world's busiest shipping routes, and have launched drones and missiles targeting Israel, as the Israeli-Hamas war threatens to spread. We didn't even see that coming, did we? Did we? I think we did. Here it is. So they're going to drag us into a war where people die, started by robots that people fly. If you know what I'm saying. Robot wars. Drones, killbots. That's what's coming. Tensions spilling over from the Gaza to the Red Sea as things escalate. And you see all those shipping containers. This is what happens when all of a sudden you can't get your roast beef in your roast beef package at the store, and they like, we out of roast beef. Why? I don't know. Something about the Red Sea. I'm just kidding. But it does add to the worldwide issue going on of less food production. So eventually that'll come to a head when, I don't know. I don't know how long they can float it until things get bad for us. Because like I said, we're the most privileged, most rich nation ever to live on Earth. And why people can't make it here is a mystery. But they're trying to destroy it so that new people or old people alike can't make it. Democrat congressional aide Aiden Mays, I think Aiden Serplisky. I don't know how to say his name. He's fired though. He's a Maryland senator from he got fired from Maryland Senator Ben Cardin after, well, a video came out of him with some other dude drilling him in our nation's capital. It was kind of like a joke. He just wanted to show you what's going on by using himself as the American people in his little analogy. But either way, congratulations on the dude, this guy right here. I'm not going to play it. Obviously, I can't. But it is, internet pornography from this 24-year-old. He lost his job of a video showing two men in a relationship in the Senate room, and it was exposed. Their identities have been revealed. Oh, have not been. The other people. I guess that was the people that was drilling. Why would they do this? I mean, like, even if it was a heterosexual thing, why would you be doing this? I mean, God. Why would you do this at all? So it doesn't matter really what's on the tape. It's just why. Whoa. I know, right? Who cares? Who cares? But they're going to run that as the next couple days. It's the thing. U.S. policing budgets would rank as the world's third highest military. And this is what's funny. This is those this is those things that I talk about that doesn't make sense right here, where they tell you two different things. So you got the defund the police crowd, and for the most part, they're morons. And the reasons behind why they want to defund the police are not true. But on the same time, you have people on the right that just want to give away endless amounts of money to policing a so-called free country. And right here, U.S. policing budgets would rank as the world's third largest, highest military expenditure. Right here, according to these people, we're number 3. Like the U.S. police. Why don't we send all the police, the excess police, over to these wars that they want to send? Oh, no. That would be a very bad idea. Right? But obviously, they don't need more funding. They need to be held accountable for the jobs that they're doing. And they should be reminded that their only job is to protect the constitutional rights of each citizen. That's it. Of each citizen. But that's not what they do. They're tax and revenue collectors. That's what most of this money is going to, is to make more money on the side of the road. And this is happening at the same time as supposedly our nation's military is the smallest military in over 80 years, as active duty troops numbers sink less than 1.3 million in all branches except for Space Force, missed recruiting goals, and Pentagon issues national call of service to Gen Z. Guess what? I'm not giving my Gen Z to you bozos who start these wars that we don't need to be involved in, or jump in wars we don't need to be involved in. I'm not giving up my kid so the bankers can wage another war against some other place on the chessboard that they're trying to knock over for their world governance program. Do you want to give your kid over? I don't think so. And why would you? Do you want to send your kid to Ukraine? I'm not. I wouldn't do that. I don't advise that. CNN, Jack Smith playing politics, wants Trump convicted before 2024 election. Is this all a TV show? Because sometimes I really think it is. Scripted, like from maybe the state level up, because some of the things that happens are beyond belief. This whole thing is just beyond belief. From warp speed to these fake, convictions or attempted convictions. And then, are they doing the old WWE thing and bring back Trump as a vanquished, foe, but he comes back triumphantly like they used to do the wrestling characters, which, by the way, he was a big part of that, as I've mentioned, going around studying cities and their psychology of getting a bunch of people playing music, showing colors, making them all feel like they're tribal, feel like they're on a team, and then sell them a bunch of medications they don't need. Ooh, it seems like our friend from Friends, Matthew Perry, died from acute effects of ketamine. In other words, he drowned because he was high. He was high on drugs that he shouldn't be taking. Like, why? Why ketamine? Too much of it. I guess the question's maybe not the ketamine, but why do it in the hot tub? Duh. I don't know. That sucks. Sucks for him. Matthew Perry died from the acute effects of ketamine, a drug that's used to treat depression and is also used as a recreational drug. The Los Angeles County Medical Examiner's Office just released the toxicology report, concluding Perry had taken ketamine-infused therapy for depression and anxiety a week and a half long before his death. Did they not tell him, don't operate machinery? Did they tell him, don't go take a nap in the hot tub? I mean, did they have to tell him that? Or should he have just known that? Or maybe it wasn't an accident. Maybe he did it to himself. Maybe somebody helped them. Who knows? Never know with these Hollywood things. Prince Harry hails phone hacking case as a win against Day for Truth. Who cares? You know what I want to know? Is how much gold do these guys got? It's a state secret. Did you know that Americans eat an extra meal every day just by snacking too much? And what are they eating? I mean, look at the photograph. I can guarantee you I do not eat an extra meal every day from snacking. I have. I've been guilty of it, but not anymore. This is just straight not good for you. I mean, look, what are they showing them eat? It's nothing but soda in the background, right? Candy, got chocolates or something like that, and a bunch of chips. That's the life, man. You can't eat gold, but you could buy food with gold. Somebody said you can't eat gold. No, but you could trade it with almost anyone in any time period throughout history of the planet, and they're going to take some gold. A concerning new study reveals American adults are adding an extra meal to their plates every day simply by snacking too much. And I'm guessing it's not like celery that they're snacking too much on. Right? They're not snacking on carrots. They're not snacking on radishes. They're snacking on chips, chocolate, all that stuff, all those goodies. Researchers from the Ohio State University analyzed data from over 20,000 individuals and discovered that Americans consume between 400 and 500 calories from snacks daily, often surpassing the caloric intake of breakfast and lacking nutritional value. Who can argue with that? Of course they do. That's what America is now. This is food. The food-like stuffs that fill your grocery stores. And I'm pretty sure, like, if there ever was any real food shortages, you're still going to get tons of this junk that's from warehouses delivered for some time before people actually catch on that there's a problem. Because they'll have all these food-like stuffs delivered for some time after there's any real problem with food. So just growing your food's better. I mean, I don't want to eat the fruit that's down there because it's all gross at the grocery store, but I have a table full of watermelons and they're good. It's in the middle of the winter. I grew them in the summer. Got cantaloupes, some other kind of weird melon that grew. I don't know. Honeydews, 3 or 4 different kinds of watermelon. Fresh fruit every day. You could just cut one open if you wanted to. The debt collectors. This next one's funny because I don't know if you've ever had to deal with customer service with anyone, but you don't anymore. You call a robot now, and you have to go through like all these waiting. If it's government, anything, if they have an AI-powered tool helping them do anything, you can't even get a real person on the phone. It's all AI. That's all it is. A taco press. Somebody says they invested in that. That sounds good. You can grind up your own corn, make tortillas. You could press your taco. People on the radio are like, what? I'm sorry, that was a comment from the chat. Anyway, AI-powered tools are helping collectors do things like negotiate debts and predict people's ability to pay, a new TransUnion report reveals. And as I've said many times on my show now, if you're hip to the scene there, you'll know AI is running everything. They're running the banking. They're running, predictions on what derivatives to invest in or, which which thing's going up and down. I was wondering, because I don't think there is, but there's no real AI for the public that predicts accurately like any other crypto. That stuff's like sorcery. You don't know when it's going to go up or down. But AI can predict, when you're going to get some money so they can collect. Matter of fact, they do that all the time. But what's so funny is the AI also blocks the AI. Because I'm sure if you have a modern phone, you get these calls that are scam likely. And 90% of the time, it's an automated call calling you, trying to get a bill or something. They do that all constantly. So it's like the AI is blocking the AI. But every once in a while, they get through and they leave like a message on your thing. And I have a phone from Florida. So everything that comes in is directed at what I'm guessing is somebody in low income housing in Dade County or something like that. Because I get some really strange stuff. Here's a cool one. Man spots a UFO from his balcony in Chicago, resembling an alien face, and experts are baffled. Which experts? That looks like a squid. What is it? Let's see. As we know from the official Pentagon documents, UFOs are unusual, circular, triangular, or even white oblong like a tic tac. Now that the U.S. government can add another shape to its list, and it's nothing we've ever seen before. A photographer in Chicago has shared this stunning shot. Those on the radio, you can't see it, but you can go to the dailymail.co and look at it. A photographer in Chicago has shared a stunning shot of a spooky object that was changing color while it was stationary in the night sky. Depending on the observer, it resembles a mask, an alien face, an indigenous totem, or even a Rafiki, the monkey from The Lion King. Experts are baffled to what it might be, although they called the image beautiful and spectacular. And basically, I don't know where they're getting the alien face from. It looks like a big, colorful squid. I'm waiting for it to go, "Don't touch my trim." That's my favorite show lately. I need to watch it again. You guys ever seen Squidbillies on Cartoon Network? Intense storm to blast the area from Florida to Maine with heavy rain and strong winds. Look out for that. An unusual strong December coastal storm is set to batter the East Coast seaboard, producing a huge swath of heavy wind-driven rain. Strong winds topping 60 miles an hour in some instances, with battered coastal areas that also should expect a shoreline flooding and beach erosion. The rain will be heavy enough to cause inland flooding. And there's your weather report. For more, tune in to the Oppenheimer Ranch Project. Jeff Bezos plays down AI danger and says 1 trillion humans could live in a huge cylindrical space station. We just come to Earth for vacation. That's what he says. He wants to put us in the Werner von Braun bicycle space station that was pitched in the 50s by ex-Nazis incorporated into the U.S. government under Operation Paperclip. How about that? People living in space could visit the Earth on vacation, this billionaire says. Artificial intelligence is more likely to save humanity than destroy it, Jeff Bezos said recently. The billionaire also said he would like to see human populations grow to 1 trillion, with most people living in huge bicycle cylindrical space stations. That's right, you could live in space. It's where they used to fly the chimps up into space. That's what they say. I would love to see 1 trillion humans living in the solar system. If we had trillions of humans, we would have, at any given time, 1,000 Mozarts, 1,000 Einsteins, he said. The only way to get that vision is with a giant space station. The planetary surface are just way too small. Even though most of it's empty right now, and we're not using it, and it's just vast amounts of empty space. You notice that the billionaires are both pushing that idea that human beings need to get off our planet. And indeed, it makes sense, just logical sense, that if human beings are going to completely survive, we need to spread out in the cosmos to more planets, increasing the odds that our genetics will continue on. But that doesn't look like they're going to let anybody, especially us peasants, get up there and play around in space. And this could be just another one of a long line of pipe dreams. However, need I remind you, that pipe eventually got built. So, should we just go with the Elon Musk, Jeff Bezos plan of getting out there, living on the moon, Mars, and other stuff? And would you drop everything to go live in space? Would you be the experiment for the rest of us back here on the old rock? I don't think I would do it. But then again, when you think about it, from fighter pilots to whatever you think of, the people that were willing to decide, you know what, I can stake even my existence on this idea are the only people that have ever seen these wondrous things that no other people have ever got to see with their own eyes. The only way anyone has ever done that is by risking their own existence on, tripping on that. So they must have some, solid steel balls, some of these guys. Imagine all the fighter pilots that just jumped in when they were testing these jets in the beginning and just said, you know what, I know I'm about to die, but this is just, nobody else gets to do this. I want to do this. I want the adrenaline. Nobody gets to go the sound of speed or whatever it was when they were the first doing it. Now, moving on to this next one. For sale, sign on Paramount will shape Redstone's legacy. And if you noticed, almost all of Hollywood has had a for sale sign in recent times, allowing Chinese investors to pretty much take over the entire thing. And when you're watching television, you're literally watching movies and shows that were made in mind not for entertainment, but for social engineering and propaganda. That's why Obama is into a lot of that. The Chinese are into a lot of that, financing and producing certain movies with certain messages. The message. Ukraine puts head of Russian church on a wanted list. Ooh, that's weird. Thank God we're helping them be a free country over there so that they can put the head of churches on wanted lists. How long till they do that everywhere else? With all that bad news going around, here's a positive story that we need more of, or at least we wish there was more of. Baby boy tossed from Tennessee home after he was sucked up by a tornado is miraculously found alive in a fallen tree. A baby miraculously survived after he was thrown through the air by a tornado that ripped through his Tennessee family's mobile home. 4-month-old Lord was discovered laying on a fallen tree in the pouring rain. Sydney Moore, 22, had thrown herself on top of her other 1-year-old son as the tornado wrecked their entire trailer, leaving the family homeless. A 4-month-old baby was miraculously survived after he was sucked up by the tornado and flung into a tree in Tennessee. Too many T's. But that is awesome, right? Some good news. And look, here he is, little 4-month-old baby one of very few humans that ever got to see something like that, I'm sure. He looks happy as a clam right there. I wonder if this is before or after. That's why I could not live over there. I just couldn't live. I used to live in Arkansas, Oklahoma. Done with that. No more tornadoes for me. No more hurricanes. None of those things. Netanyahu under pressure over hostages that died. I'm sorry, I don't mean to laugh. But for weeks, people have been saying, well, you know, some people on one side of things are shooting people with white flags. And then, well, they seem to have been proven right today when some people got struck with gunfire holding up white flags. If you want to get into more of this tribalism, visit your local news. But anyway, here's the headline. Hostages mistakenly shot dead by Israeli troops were waving white flags. Maybe they didn't ever hear about the white flag. That's possible. You know, they're just like, hey, who's that? There's a bunch of people waving white flags. They got shirts. Kill them. Or do you think maybe they were just capping at anybody and everybody? Like, that happens in war. All sides have been caught doing it in different wars. Anger at Israeli government mounts after military admits mistakenly killing their own hostages. Oopsies. I can't say it. These angelic people. Evangelic. There it is. Evangelical. Leader says he doesn't believe polls showing strong Trump support in Iowa. I think, who knows what they're going to do? I'm thinking we're going to have Trump with a woman running for president against DeSantis. And, you know, of course, the Democrats are going to do the Newsom thing. It all just seems like a TV program. I'm sorry. It doesn't seem real. And then you see different states getting busted with, you know, boo-boos in their election and their counting and how they're doing it. But it's hard for people to care if you're spending more than $3 per gallon on gasoline. And according to this article here, $3 per gallon gasoline is in sight amid record U.S. oil production. Less than $3? I hope they're talking about. Yeah, good. Gas prices might look poised to fall below $3 per gallon for the first time since May of 2021. You better go visit while you can. Better get out there and do some driving while the gas, if it does, drop below $3. I think it is here already, below $3. But this is the time, because you know it can only go up in the future, especially with world events as they are right now. Has social media brainwashed you into thinking that the economy is bad? According to the John Birch Murdoch, chief data reporter for the Financial Times, you're just dumb. Despite nearly all of the traditional indicators blaring that the U.S. economy is strong, there are still overwhelming numbers of people on both sides of the political spectrum who say the opposite. What gives? I don't know. Hey, moving on. Homelessness hits record high in U.S. Families with children saw the steepest rise in homelessness this past year, the Department of Housing and Urban Development has found. Hey, that's weird. I thought we had a good. Wait a minute. Are they just brainwashing us? Maybe it's these Russian news people, man. They could be. Look, it's social media that's brainwashing me. Not the fact that there's all these homeless people. Man poisoned Ken's meatballs with Visine. That's evil, man. To give somebody the poops and then kill them. Ugh. After purchasing a meatball sandwich for his nephew, a Florida man poured Vaseline. Visine. That's what I thought. All over the food, which was later partially consumed by his relative, according to police, who arrested the man on a felony poisoning charge. I wonder if the dude died. Upon blah, blah, blah. Did he die? Because, you could jack somebody up with that. It's messed up. Evidently, you can't trust people with your sandwiches. How about this? This is another prediction of mine come true right here, if you've been listening to me. When I told you that the only place in the world left without combat zones erupting is South America and North America, and that wouldn't last very long, that it would, eventually become a combat zone along the U.S.-Mexican border, and now we got the Venezuelans trying to invade their neighbor. So that would be South America, got some combat going on there soon, maybe. But right here, Daily Mail, Mexican military sees 10 IEDs at the U.S.-Mexican border at Tucson. Border Patrol agents are warned to be vigilant as America is faced with unprecedented migrant surge. But now we're finding IEDs. Oh my God. So people are going to start blowing up. And as I've reported before, they've been using drones for not only surveillance, but to bomb people, assassinate them, blow up people. It's messed up. And it's very underreported. Instead, you get to hear about Ukraine and the Middle East, but they don't talk about what's going on too much in your backyard. Like, you would think you might want to hear about stuff like that. I don't know. Drug cartel delivers hundreds of toys to kids in hospitals as gifts from El Chapo. El Chapo Claus has come early this year. While the drug cartel aren't renowned for their compassion, it turns out they have a great deal of Christmas spirit. Isn't that nice? With El Chapo squad donating hundreds of toys to children in need. That's cool, man. Yeah, near the border, not on the border. Just near it. It's just inching near it. Excuse me. Good call. Good call. While El Chapo is behind bars in the U.S., it hasn't stopped Sinaloa cartel from showcasing their Christmas spirit by donating 800 gifts to the Children's Hospital, acting as Mexico's answer to Father Christmas in a move that many will call propaganda. Like everybody else ain't doing it. Actually, with no propaganda, will we even have entertainment? Doctors in meltdown as mysterious China virus stops responding to all antibiotics. The world has been gripped by fear over the mystery virus rocking the youngest in China's population. And now it has emerged that it is resisting all antibiotics. Doctors worldwide are in meltdown after China confirmed that the mysterious pneumonia taking over the country has stopped responding to all antibiotics. The Daily Star has been reporting on how the strange, unidentified virus has been causing chaos in China for weeks, with the world on high alert over fears of a new pandemic could be on the way, and no official confirmation as to what it actually is, although it is so far only seems to impact mainly children. And I'm sure there's more to that all the children are of a certain demographic of people that chose to do a certain thing. Anyway, CDC sounds major alarm as new highly contagious, I don't even want to say this word because they get all mad. Anyway, a variant grips the U.S. Variant JN1 has sparked concern among scientists due to its rapid growth rate and large number of mutations. What are the symptoms? Who knows? But you might find out in a town near you. Cardinal sentenced to 5.5 years in Vatican trial. The Vatican court on Saturday convicted a once powerful Italian cardinal of 5 years and 6 months in jail for his financial crimes. Oh, not. When's the last time you seen them convict them of their sexual crimes against children? Not never. Not never. But, you steal some money. Well, you might just go to jail. That's messed up. That's messed up, man. Speaking of stealing money, Dallas area megachurch faces backlash for its opulent Christmas show. Opulent? What's that mean? Like rich, richy, fantastical? Texas megachurch is facing online backlash for the second year in a row for its extravagant Christmas mass after TikTok showing the opulent performance setup went viral. TikTok Lawson May posted footage from Prestonwood Baptist Church, The Gift of Christmas show 6 days ago. The clip showed drummers with full-body LED outfits soaring through the air, attached to cables moving up and down suspension tracks attached to the church ceiling. That sounds fantastic. Why are they tripping? I wish I would have brought some mushies. You imagine sitting in there with all the holy rollers, with your bag of mushies, eating all the laser light show men. Sorry. World War III approaches, just as planned. In this article from RT, if massive depopulation is the end goal, then continued support for Ukraine is the way to go. Hey, they rhymed that. That was pretty good, right? Depopulation is the end goal. Ukraine is the way to go. Let's just send everybody, including our own children, into a meat grinder for absolutely no reason. Other than, Putin bad. Putin bad. Military conflicts are not a result of random chance. Deliberate planning is involved. It is instructive to look at what happened to the Ukraine in 2014. Well, I think I remember there was a coup that they called the Orange Revolution, which had a bunch of neo-Nazis that George Soros was funding, and they were doing stuff like shooting the police and starting a bunch of havoc. And, well, here we are today. Let's see what this article says, though. Around the coup, supported by the U.S. government and its Western allies, with the victory of Viktor Yanukovych. This means I am as hungry as the wolf. This longest word in Russian language, Yagologenkakvulk. I like to drink it, the milk. I am hungry as wolf. I like to eat buttered bread, drink my malika, my piva. Anyway, we all know that there was a coup over there, and we know that this is another one of the world elite's endless war money traps. And why don't they just give them that $81 billion worth of equipment we left for the Taliban? We could have gave that to the Ukrainians. But I think that was meant for a different plan, a different destabilization campaign with all of those guys that were terrorists. Now, 81 million, was it billion? I think it was B with a B. B with a B. Billion. Who knows? Ukraine missed its chance to what? To do what? Ukraine planning new counteroffensives, supposedly. So maybe all you guys with your Ukraine flags in the bio on Twitter will be all happy when a bunch more people dies. Oops, you want to see that. Anyway, there's this article that you have to kind of go look at, because I'm pretty sure I won't be able to talk about it too much. Briefing by Chief of Nuclear, Chemical, and Biological Protection Troops of the Armed Forces of the Russian Federation, Lieutenant General Igor Krylyov, on U.S. military biological activity in the Ukraine. But if I read this, I might get tagged for misinformation or disinformation from the Ministry of Truth. Ex-FBI intel chief who was investigated for the Trump-Russia collusion, He gets 4 years in prison for colluding with Russia. That's funny. That's pretty funny, man. Pentagon seeks EMP weapon to eliminate drone swarms. So, in the future, just like on that movie, when the blackout comes, is it natural? Did the sun do something? Or did a rogue nation pop an EMP? Did your own nation pop an EMP? How big of an EMP? Just a little one for like a small city? Or like a big one for like East Coast or West Coast? Like, what are we talking here? Anyway, let's go to Zero Hedge, to the original article, and see what it says. Pentagon seeks EMP weapon to eliminate drone swarms. Faced with the reality that drones are reshaping the modern battlefields in Ukraine and Gaza, the Pentagon has been tasked with finding a budget-friendly solution to eliminate these flying IEDs. While missiles are too expensive and laser beams are a distant dream, except for they just demonstrated that. They just demonstrated that they could indeed do this. Plus, we have all kinds of particle weapons, as I've explained on this channel many times, and where our own Air Force says other nations better beware because they're going to start attaching them to vehicles, planes, trains, and automobiles and whatnot. You know, but I don't think it's a distant dream, and I wouldn't be surprised if we have a couple satellites that can do the same thing. The next best cost-effective weapon U.S. military officials are eyeing up could be electromagnetic pulse weapons to counter drone swarms. Oopsies. A distant light dream, huh? Website. The U.S. Air Force has published a contract opportunity for private industry titled Electromagnetic Pulse EMP Defense Against Unmanned Aerial Systems. That's a mouthful. Anyway, that's weird, considering that they've been demonstrating that they do indeed have other platforms. So what does this mean? They don't work good enough, not fast enough. So, yeah. UK at risk of catastrophic cyber attack at any moment. Also, by RT. Wow, we're coming up to the end. But mark my words, we're probably going to get to experience a great cyber attack or something like that. Only because they've been shoving it down our throat for the last couple of years. The predictive programming of some rogue cyber attack or China cyber attacking us or whatever. British systems are endangered due to chronic lack of investment, according to a government study. In other words, not only is, the infrastructure not really backed up with investment for some kind of solar event, they're not even really trying that hard to back it up in case somebody just wants to turn it off for fun. The United Kingdom is vulnerable to a catastrophic cyber attack that could cripple large sections of the most critical infrastructure, a parliamentary report has warned. Oh well, aren't we all kind of doomed for that? And that's all I guess I got time for this week on Revolution.Radio. This has been Mountain High Time, where the place and the time are the same. Puff, puff, pass, pass, or whatever that is. I hope your weather is partly cloudy. Let's move over to the chat room and see what's going on over there. Probably a lot of mucho caca de toro. I got the sarcastic people. They love to hable mucho caca de toro. If I translated that correctly. Anybody, it's 8 o'clock. Meet you over at Magnetic Reversal News on YouTube, where we can watch the repeat of the Cosmic Catastrophes broadcast on Revolution.Radio. And this has been Ransom Godwin. Peace out. And there was that. And here we are on YouTube. Oh, we got a virgin in the house. Can you believe it? You get a wrench. Everybody gets a wrench because because of free speech, man. And I want to thank all of y'all for showing up here on YouTube and kicking it with me. Next week, I got a new thing going on in here, so I think I'll have it where I could actually watch your chat in real time and make it more of a interactive experience when we talk about great topics like gooch grease and other things. Oh yeah, we could talk about other things, etc., etc., etc. Did I do it right, buddy? Did I get it right? We'll see you next time, etc., etc. You know what I'm saying, man? I'm sorry. I was just pulling your guys' chain. Let's see. Sounds like dinner's ready. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed this Saturday evening, and I'll see you next time on the same place in the same time. That's Mountain High Time.